Welcome back to another Thrifty Crafts. I'm paying tribute to the award-winning Greetings Adventurers podcast, previously Drunks and Dragons, by remaking our logo in polymer clay. The logo was originally created as fan art by our old buddy Azad. Hopefully I can do it justice and it won't look like a bad knockoff. I start with a little armature, fill out the body shape with aluminum foil, and then cover with a thin sheet of polymer clay. Once I have the shape where I want it, I give it a quick bake to harden the Sculpey, and then add another thin layer of clay that I can add some dragon scales to. But first, the head needs to be defined a little further. These are going to be his wing nubs. I've added the ridges along his back. After giving it a quick bake to harden the clay, I added some more details like his talons. Okay, they're paws. I'm using cause clay for this part since it's a little more flexible than the Sculpey and less likely to crack. He of course needs to be holding a beer can. A little liquid polymer clay will act like glue after the next baking. And then I just kind of cram it on there. But it's starting to look like something. I needed a little help for the dragon scales, so I made this little roller out of polymer clay and a pencil. Here I'm pretending to sculpt the scales. See, I did a good job. Can't believe that actually worked. Shout out to trepanation lovers. I feel bad about the invasive procedure, but I'd feel worse about a horn falling off. We want a nice slack jaw on this guy, so I've gone through a whole mess of nonsense with some jaw armature. Since planning isn't really my thing, I decided to add the wing armature a step early. I slapped some quick paint on him for coverage, then add a little wash to pick up the texture and do some additional painting details. The logo wasn't ever really a character in the show, more of like a metaphor for how seriously we take ourselves. But after 10 plus years of coming up with novel new ideas, Jamichael was born. I didn't actually give him a name, I just introduced this extremely drunk dragon to the players, and they promptly named him Jamichael, which I'm pretty sure is just a fantasy version of Michael. Decided to do some wet on wet color blending for his face, and then just kept adding detail. Now, he does wear contact lenses, so this doesn't bother him at all. But I'm liking how he's looking, especially after some dry brushing. Getting these bends right took an embarrassing amount of time. Scientists tend to disagree a lot on dragon physiology. Zod went down my favorite path and plopped the wings right on the back. The Game of Thrones sort of style where the arms are bat wings. That's probably more naturalistic, but I'm not trying to be naturalistic. You're definitely going to want some liquid polymer if you're going to try to get clay to stick to naked armature. And since I don't want to chuck the entire thing into the oven, I use a heat gun to cure the clay. And then we have one of my most favoritist devices, the cursed pasta roller. It sure makes deliciously thin sheets. Perfect for dragon wings. I'm again using cause clay here because it's just much more flexible. And then a quick shot with the heat gun and those wings are locked into place and ready for painting. Then we're going to do a little more wet on wet before going over the whole thing with a more traditional dry brush. Pretty pleased, so it's time for a base. I do have thrifty in my title, so I decided to make the base out of some scrap insulation foam. That seems good. A little Gorilla Glue and these will be perfect. I do love how it poofs up when it dries. Very satisfying. This would have been a lot easier with a hot wire cutter, but a craft knife still does the trick. Add the classic layer of Mod Podge and black paint as a base coat. And then we slather the whole thing up in white glue. This is literal dirt. Make sure you roast your literal dirt in the oven to kill off any little critters or bacteria that might be living inside. I'm not a scientist. Now I'm adding even more white glue on top of the dirt layer, and we're going to do some static grass. It worked. This little puddle is UV resin. And the bubbles are from dish soap. Once you hit it with the UV light, you get a nice bubbly texture. And then hit it with a little dry brushing to bring that out. I throw some more dice and cans into the mix, and we're pretty much done. Special shout out to my patrons that have stuck with me through a long hiatus. You will forever be in my heart. Extra thanks to Oak, Local Mind Flayers, Seattle number 42, That Johnny Guy, YK Lee, Andrew Merchant, and Jeff Ward. Thanks. If you would like to see more videos and get regular behind the scenes updates, please head over to patreon.com/thriftycrafts. Check out my podcast, Greetings Adventurers. It's got fresh episodes every week. Thanks everyone. Keep it dicey.